Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 6, Episode 10. And the name of this episode is A Lover's Passion, and this is the mid-season finale. I'm gonna be real. I didn't like how it ended. I mean, it was somewhat of a good episode, but the ending, I wanted more fireworks. But I think we're gonna get that because we don't have that long to wait because it comes back on May 1st. And from what I saw from the previews, it's about to go down. And I can't wait. So let me get started. So the episode picks up where it left off. Justin walks in on Jeffrey and Wyatt hugging. So he immediately slams the door and he's like, what the hell is this? And like, Jeffrey's like, look, you need to get up out of here because the cameras are working. He's like, yeah, I know. That's how I knew the two of you were in here. But I went in there and I did a little something, so now they're off. And he's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? You know. And then Wyatt's like, yeah, man, what the hell is wrong with you? Why do you keep doing this shit? He's like, I told you to stay away from him, didn't I? And it just went to the point. So it just pretty much, it just started, they kept going back and forth, and, Wyatt ends up confessing and lets Jeffrey know that, dude, you came to my house with a crowbar and started fighting me and shit. And then all of a sudden, Jeffrey's like, what the hell were you doing at his house? He's like, look, I told him that I didn't, he's like, I told him to stay away from you, but he doesn't get it. And all of a sudden, Jeffrey's like, I don't belong to you. And Wyatt's like, you know what, I can't with this. I'm going to go get David. But he's like, oh, no. You don't have to go nowhere because Justin's leaving. Oh, Glenn Close sat her ass down and was like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, this boy has completely lost his mind. Where he is in his mind, him and Jeffrey are in a relationship, and he now calls the shots in Jeffrey's life. But it just makes me kind of question, why is Jeffrey continuing to take this type of crap from Justin? Like, what the hell is wrong with him that he keeps doing this? So, in this scene, we actually get a reveal, which, in all honesty, made perfect sense. He's saying that, so therefore he sits down and he's like, why do you keep doing this to me? And Jeffrey's like, I ain't doing nothing to you. He's like, you're torturing me. He's like, I'm not torturing you. He's like, yes, you are, because I walk in and I see you in here with him, hugging him. I've done so much for us. I'm in love with you, and you can't leave me for him. I'm like, oh, this fool done lost his damn mind. I'm saying Glenn Close got the rabbit in the pot and is boiling on high. And it's like you can't tell her nothing. Because she, in her mind, her and Jeffrey are a couple. But yet, at the end of the day, Justin, you ain't even out in the open. So how can you be in a relationship with somebody if you can't even admit to yourself that you like men? You was sitting there denying it to your wife, and you keep denying it every time somebody brings it up to you. Hell, you even denied it to David. And David's like, we saw the film, bruh. Why the hell you still lying and saying you're not gay when it's obvious you are? So, so all of a sudden, he's saying that, look, I already told you at the end of the day that me and him are just friends, and it is what it is. And he's like, I don't believe you. Well, he's like, fine, if you don't believe me, you just don't believe me then. And then all of a sudden he went to go try to hug Jeffrey. Jeffrey's like, look, I said no. And then that's when David walks in, and David puts his ass up out of there. Yeah, he know who to play with, but he know when David come in, Justin know. That's a level of crazy he ain't gonna be able to mess with. He had fun messing with Veronica, but David's a totally different kind of monster. So when David said, get out of here now, and he got up and he left, so therefore, he's asking Jeffrey what's going on Jeffrey keeps lying. Oh no, it's nothing. It's don't worry about it. He's like, son, are you sure? Why don't you just tell me what's going on? He's like, Dad, it's okay. I can handle it. I'm fine. And I'm like, you stupid bitch. Like, Jeffrey makes me want to strangle him, but then again, it gets revealed why he's doing this. Because then Wyatt pretty much is like, you know what, I ain't here for the bullshit. I'm telling everything. He is mad because he thinks me and Wyatt are together, and he's jealous of me and Wyatt's friendship. He's jealous of me and Jeffrey's friendship, and, you know, he came to my house and tried to beat me up and everything, and, you know, the guy's crazy. But then, next thing you know, David's like, are you serious? But then all of a sudden, Jeffrey's like, but Dad, don't do anything. He's like, why not? And he's just saying that, look, he's not really a bad guy. He just needs help. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this boy just is completely, like, dude just choked you out and literally put you to sleep. What makes you think he won't choke you out and kill you, Jeffrey? Really? So pretty much, you know, Wyatt just can't take it no more. He's like, you know what, I gotta go. I'll holler at you later, Jeffrey. Because it's just like, dude, you literally are in this somewhat psycho-abusive situation, and you're okay with it. And you're just being very nonchalant. Well, it's okay, you know, it's not as bad as it looks, you know. So pretty much, you know, with that, you know, David starts asking him, are you in love with him? He's like, well, he's in love with me. It's that, you know, he just gets a little crazy sometimes and all this shit. And he's like, I can handle him though. But he's like, again, are you in love with him? And he's saying, well, it sometimes gets passionate or whatever. And he's saying that passion and abuse are not the same thing. Abuse is not passion. So again, he's saying, do you love him seriously? And then Jeffrey pulls the wild card. Is like, Dad, you're the last person to lecture me on about love. He's like, yeah, I know with your mother, but I got out of that. And he's like, yeah, and it took you 25 years. But then he lets him know that, look, you know, I talked to a judge and I may be able to get you out, you know, but you got to spend one more night in jail, you know, but they'd be able to arrange bail for you. So, and he pretty much says, I love you, son. So I'm like, okay, you got one more night. What makes you think in that one night something can happen to you, Jeffrey? Because you already got Justin, but then you also got that other black cop, whatever his name is, that's working with Oscar, another dirty cop that, you know, that definitely got it out for you too. So here it is, you not telling the truth, and you're protecting this guy who's obviously psychotic and crazy and has a fatal attraction to you. You're still protecting him. But then he hit the nail on the head that he got this shit from Veronica and David, because Veronica has been psychologically and emotionally abusing David for years, and he always comes out on her side. So then we actually see that Oscar's on his computer at the Artesian Hotel. Candace walks by him and sees him, but she keeps on. Oscar calls Jim. Jim and Catherine are sitting in Wyatt's flat, and you know, he pretty much lets them know that he pretty much calls Jim and lets Jim know that, look, I got the info. There's a guy in the Cayman Islands that looks just like Wyatt. I got all of his information. He can go in and, you know, make the transaction, and you know, and we got this all taken care of. And he's like, okay, that's great, thank you. And then Catherine's like, what's that about? And he tells her that, look, I got back Wyatt's inheritance. And she's like, how the hell did you do that? He says that, look, you have your ways, I have mine. See, the difference between you and me, you went to Wyatt, I went around him. So pretty much, this is a proof right here that you need me. You need me more than ever, Catherine. And she asks, does he know? And he's like, no, he doesn't know at all. And he's like, Wyatt is going to be mad as hell. And then Jim was like, that's exactly what I want. Yeah, because he got it out for Wyatt now that Wyatt is going to testify against the both of them. He's like, oh, hell yeah, I want Wyatt to be pissed off. Trying to take us down. Fuck that. So then we see Wyatt, Candace calls Rocky. And she says that she notices that she knows that Oscar was on a laptop. Rocky's working the bar. She calls Rocky and says that Oscar, that guy, let me. I want to get as much because she can see that from where Rocky's standing, he can actually see the screen that Oscar's on in his laptop. So she was saying that, look, won't you send Gia over there to distract him, to give him some attention, or pretty much have Gia call me, because you're like, get Gia to distract him so I can, so you can take a picture of Oscar's screen and you can just send it to me. So he gives, he writes something on a napkin, to Gia. Gia calls Candace and lets him know that, look, I just want you to distract him. She's like, okay. She's like, well, he's not a John. That's not what he's there for. Like, at the end of the day, just flirt with him, act like you're drunk, whatever, just distract him for a minute, so we can kind of keep, so we can kind of, keep that computer open. So she goes and starts trying to flirt with him. He immediately calls her out like, I'm not into hookers. And she's like, I'm not a hooker. He's like, girl, please. It's written all over your face. Get the hell up out of here. I was like, Oscar was just so mean as hell. And she was saying that, look, I can't leave. And he's like, why the hell not? He said that because my pimp over there, he wants me to come over and talk to you. And if I get up, I'm going to have a bad night. And he's like, is that my problem? She's like, please. He's like, okay, fine. You can sit there, but that's it. And she's like, well, thank you for saving my life. And he's like, yeah, and thank you for ruining mine, bitch. I was like, oh my God, Oscar had me rolling, because Oscar just gave no fucks about Gia. So pretty much what happens is that Rocky took a picture of his screen and sent it to Candace. She now has Jim Cryer's account numbers and everything. She's like, oh, okay, I got your ass now, Jim. So I'm like, oh, hell, she about to pull the same kind of move that David pulled on her. She going to pull on Jim. She going to be taking money out of his account. But I think what she's going to end up intersecting is that $9 million from Wyatt. That's going to be real interesting. Next, we see, Candace calls Veronica. So she's pretty much saying that, you got some, so he's saying like, oh, so you got some information for me? And Candace's like, yeah, I got some information for you, but I need you to do something for me. And she's like, oh, great. Just like a hood rat, always looking for cheese. I'm like, Veronica is so damn evil. Oh my God. And she was like, little girl. And she was like, so tell me, what do you want, little girl? What can I do for you today, little girl? And Candace's like, man, cut the condescending shit. Do you know the guy at the bank? And she's like, Lloyd Bowman? Yeah. She's like, yeah. I want you to create an account for me. Make it under the Crier company and make me the only person that can have access to that account. And she's like, so she's pretty much asking Veronica, can you do it? She's like, hell, I can do anything. That's nothing. So she's like, okay, I'll do this for you, but I'll get that taken care of. But you definitely need to sign it and send everything back because everything has to be notarized. So she's like, okay, fine. So she's like, so what do you got for me? She lets Veronica know that David bought Erica a house. So, and that she's living there with him. Oh, tell me why the hell did the damn Ice Queen start getting jealous? He's like, oh my God, he bought her a house. And then Candace lets her know the area where he bought the house. She's like, oh, that's where I wanted to live the first time. But he told me that we couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. He's got a house there, and he's there with her. Really? And then Candace was like, well, hey, my girls know how to work a man. What can I say? I was like, Candace, you wrong. And she's like, she's living there with him? She's like, boo-boo, are you getting death at your old age? Yes, she's living there with him. What the hell? And she's like, I told him I wanted to live there. Yeah, and he originally bought that house for you after you damn near tried to kill him in the old house. He actually bought that house for the both of you, but you went ahead and bought the house that you living in and didn't tell him about it. So, bitch, you fucked up. And that's why you in the situation you in. You and your messiness and you and your evil deeds. So, bitch, you just getting what's getting thrown back to you. So, after she finished getting off the, so she pretty much tells her that she's going to call Lloyd, because she also wanted the address. And she says, do this thing for me with the bank and I'll give you the address. So, she says she's going to call Lloyd and she hangs up the phone. She leaves her phone on the counter. Melissa, walks in while she's on the phone. Melissa goes in and she actually catches Benny for Benny to come over. Then all of a sudden we see Benny back at back at the place, and it's like, man, this woman. And then Hannah's like, what woman? And of course, Hannah and Benny right now are not on good terms. They are still going back and forth, because she knows about him sleeping with Veronica and doing all this stuff. And Benny's like, well, dang, Mom, why don't you just give me some space? Why you always keep smothering me with this crap? And she's saying that, hey, what you mean some space? Like, shoot, you don't want sleeping with that crazy ass woman. And then she was like, oh yeah, about last night. And he's like, yeah, Mom, I know. I'm just saying, I got, everything is cool. And she's like, and you still keep lying, because Benny's not a damn good liar at all. So she just knows that something ain't right and something's up, and she can't, even though she can't put her finger on it, she just knows that Benny's up to no good. And that's because Benny's not a good liar, and he just getting all emotional and shit because you got a whole bunch going on. So she pretty much says, you know what, I can't, so she just kind of left it alone, like, fine, I ain't gonna say nothing else. Then all of a sudden she gets a knock at the door, and it's the people that Catherine sent to her to give her a makeover for her date. So, and she tells them that, that they can set up in the bathroom. So she calls Catherine, and she's like, the makeup people were over here. I thought you were joking. She was like, oh no, honey, I want you to look gorgeous, and I want you to have you a good time, and I want details too. And she's like, thank you. She's like, well, this will be the time you say thank you. She's like, thank you, but she says, also, I was thinking about what you said about the promotion. I'm willing to come back to work for you, but as a supervisor. And she's like, oh, girl, you don't know how happy this makes me. She's like, but she says, oh, yeah, but I want details and everything. And she's like, okay, we'll talk. And she's like, thank you. Now I want to choke your ass, but I do thank you for looking out for me. So, and we see that Jim is just looking there all like, Jim, that's her friend. Stop it. Because he always someone has it out for Hannah. Like, because, he's a part of the haves and Hannah's a part of the have-nots. But he doesn't know about that bond that that Hannah and Catherine have. Hannah was there for her in a way that nobody was. So then, we see that G is still trying to chat out with Oscar. You know, damn Veronica. I'm sorry. Then Candace comes up and tells her, "Get the hell up, move." And she tells him like, "Okay, I think I want to get on the situation, you know, involving Charles." He's like, "Oh, really? That's what's up." Okay, he's like, "No, but I don't." She's like, "I don't want to talk about it here. Come to my room and hurry up because, you know, don't let me wait too long because I'm horny." And he's like, "Yes, ma'am." I'm like, He wanted some of the cookie. So then we see that David finally comes home, and Erica's there. You know, Erica noticed that he's stressed, and you know he feels, you know, really down. So she goes to get him a drink, and they start talking, and you know he says that, you know, she says, "So you want to talk about what's going on with you?" And she was saying, "Is it about your wife?" He's like, "No, it's not about my wife." Because at first he said he didn't want to talk about it at all. But she was saying like, "Well, what is it? It's obviously bothering you. Is it your wife?" She says, "Oh, no, it's not my wife. It's my son." You know, and okay, so what's going on there? And he says, "I just now realize how much damage I've done to him. You know, loving someone who's toxic." And he said that, "I just realized that my son is a carbon copy of myself." Yes. So it now makes sense why Jeffrey is so attracted to Justin, because Justin represents that same type of crazy that he gets from his own mother. And Jeffrey's place is exactly like David. He constantly defends him. He constantly takes up for him. He doesn't want to put him. He doesn't want, you know, he doesn't want to own up to the shit. He just kind of protects it. And the same thing that he's done with Veronica for years. You know, so he's pretty much saying that, you know, here it was, I thought I was being a loving husband, but all that Jeffrey saw was me taking abuse and accepting it. I created a mess. And that he's actually chose to love in disregard of his own well-being. But then, you know, she says that, "Well, how old is your son?" She said, "He's around your age." She's like, "Well, he'll get it eventually. Eventually he'll get it." But then he's like, "Oh, it feels so good coming home to you," and all of that. Next thing you know, they start locking lips and they're getting it on the stairs. I'm like, that's what's up. Then, you know, Veronica calls Candace, lets her know that the notary and everything is done, everything's good. So she's like, "So where's the address?" And Candace is like, "You know, what are you gonna do?" She's like, "Are you really questioning me right now? Give me the damn address." She's like, "I'll give it to you tomorrow." She's like, "No, you're gonna give me the address right now." She hangs up on Veronica's ass. She's like, "Oh, this little girl think I'm playing with her ass." She's like, "Hello?" She's like, "Give me the damn address." She's like, I'm not giving it to you." She's like, "Little girl, do not play with me. Give me the address." She's like, "No, I'm not going to give you the address because you're going to mess it up. When you get emotional, you get unstable, and you get fucking crazy. I'm not giving you the address because we're trying to set David up, and I'm not going to let you ruin this." And she's like, "Give me the damn address. Give it to me." So she gives her the address, and she remembers the address because I think that may have been a house that her and David had saw years ago. And here it is, that man bought you that house, but now he up in there with Erica. So then we actually see that after she gets off the phone with Veronica, Oscar comes up. She's telling Oscar to take off his clothes, and he's like, you're up to something. She's like, "Yeah, I'm horny, take off your clothes." She's like, no. You know, I don't trust you. And she's like, you know, why are you so paranoid? I mean, let's remember, you're the one that stole my money. She's like, and you keep bringing that up. So she pretty much lets him know that, look, you know, Charles had just got me out of jail. And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, he got me out of jail." You know, so he's like, "Okay, so that means he's into you." And he's saying that, "Look, what's your plan? What is your thing with Charles? Like, what is it?" He's saying that, "Look, there are powerful people who want dirt on him because he has a squeaky clean image, and due to the fact that he's, in the running, we need to get something to take him down. And she lets him know that, look, he won't fall for it. He's smart, kind of like my smart. He's just as conniving. He's not gonna fall for it. And she's like, okay. So pretty much she lets him know that, look, we're gonna have to work out something to make this happen. So he says, I'll take one drink, but that's about it. So that's what happens there. Then we see Wyatt go to the Malone bar. It's called the Iron Bone. It's one of those rough bars. So he goes there and asks for a shot of tequila. Then he's like, do you got something harder? And he's like, look, all we do is alcohol over here. But what he did, so he says, you want to start a tab? And he was like, yeah. So the bartender goes and he talks to Mitch's uncle. Mitch's uncle comes over there and he's saying that, look, you want something hard? And he's like, yeah, I do. He's like, come meet me in the bathroom, the door to the left. So he goes into the bathroom. The uncle comes in there and he's saying, what you got? What you got? He's like, I got everything. You get anything you want to get. So he chooses, he said he wanted some coke. So he said, so how much you got? He gave him a stack of money. So the uncle gave him the coke and he told him, put my number in your phone. He says, anytime you need something, I got you. I even do home deliveries. I'm like, oh shit, you about to put yourself into danger your damn self, Wyatt, because you still got that damn junkie itch. And then all of a sudden you see he got the drugs in his hand and he's looking in the mirror. So I'm like, okay, Wyatt, what the hell are you gonna do? And I'm like, see, that damn Wyatt and his junkie ass just, again, about to put himself into another trap. One, your father is about to take your money from you, so you think you got all this money that you're literally about to lose within a matter of seconds or so. Then you up in here buying drugs from the Malones. So not only are you about to be broke, but then you're also about to put your life in danger too, because the Malones don't play. So then the episode ends with Veronica finally arriving to the house, and she walks up to the window and you see she's stunned. And that's where it ended. And I'm like, they could have gave me a little bit more. I wanted to see Veronica pop and really see this whole explosive fight go on. That's what I really wanted to see. But, again, it comes back May 1st, so therefore we definitely got a lot to look forward to when it gets back. But man, I just didn't care for that ending. I wanted more. I wanted some more action. I wanted somebody getting shot. I wanted some bloodshed. I wanted some action. But in Firesight, because of that, I have to say it was a good episode. But I just didn't like the ending. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the mid-season premiere of the Haves and the Have-Nots. So until then, everybody, take care.